In my last video in this series, I was mentioning maybe turning some of this into a book, and really growing some more of the content around the ritual theory and ritual design using the tarot. In the process of prioritizing the various projects that I have going on this year, this book has it's been put on ice for the foreseeable future. I have all the videos out here and I feel like that's enough. I don't have a lot of personal energy kind of built up in that particular project. So I am going to be producing another ritual on demand class that includes the myths and metaphors that might be useful for ritual design. And kind of like a deeper dive into some of the ritual design and ritual theory that I've produced already. However, I'm not going to be putting together the tarot ritual book. To that end, what I feel like is missing from this series and what I feel like has been missing is kind of when and how to use those rituals. As I said, originally it was intended to just kind of provide the metaphor in a way to help you kind of understand how to design a ritual based on the meanings of each of the cards. It turned into a tarot lesson, which I wasn't really anticipating. And so one of the things that I want to talk about is like when and how to kind of implement those rituals. So there's kind of two different ways that you might do it. One of the ways is to implement it when you've drawn the card. So you've got the card in a reading and you want to work with the energy of what's going on in that reading with that particular card. So if you've drawn the card and it's part of a spread or it's part of something else that's going on, what you might know is like, this is the thing I need to do next. This is the energy that I need to embody next. This is the thing I need to pull into my being. And so that's going to be when to like do the ritual, because you're basically creating that energy for yourself in your real life with your body and with the kind of bottom up use of the unconscious. The other time that you might want to use this is when you're already in the energy of that card. You're already kind of in that energy and you realize, oh, this is a Four of Swords moment, or oh, I'm really feeling stuck. I'm gonna do this. And so rather than having it go from a reading into the ritual, you can actually do the ritual first and do the ritual in order to kind of pull that energy toward you. So for example, if you are maybe feeling some imposter syndrome, maybe feeling a little bit like you're unprepared for a big task or a big challenge or something that you're trying to manifest, you will want to kind of draw the magician toward you. So you might do a ritual that is built around the magician to be able to tell your unconscious, this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I want to do. And you could, pull out the magician card specifically and really gaze at it and meditate on it, maybe create art around it and do some sort of ritual around it so that you can kind of show your unconscious, this is what I'm doing. What I do find, honestly, for myself is that if I do it in that direction, I end up drawing the card later on if it hasn't been like left out of the deck. So, I'm just going to tell you that does happen and you will see it start to happen for you. I think it's just a really interesting way to think about the energy that you're wanting to embody. And when we're thinking about rituals are doing, they are embodiment, they are actions. And so thinking about what action we need to take in order to embody that reality is incredibly helpful. So often what I kind of look for with myself is, what advice am I giving myself? Am I giving myself the advice to stay grounded? Am I giving myself the advice to just go ahead and take the leap of faith and trust the universe? Am I giving myself the advice to maybe take a rest and relax? And then I kind of design the ritual that I want to do for myself out of that advice. And this doesn't have to be advice you're giving yourself. It could be, maybe you watch tarot readings here on YouTube. I do that all the time. And sometimes they're like, what you really need to do is 7 of Cups. And I'm like, all right, so 7 of Cups it is. So that can be incredibly helpful. But it also doesn't have to be that specific. It doesn't have to be somebody tells you this is the card that is your advice. The other thing, just so you know, what I do with tarot, I believe for me, tarot is far more around getting in touch with and communicating with my own unconscious and my own intuition than it is divination. I do use it for divination about once a year. not super frequently, but I do use it for divination. And but generally speaking, for me, it's around really understanding what's going on in my own intuition and my own interiority. So, you know what? I'm going to show you what I was just about to say. So we're in my bedroom, and I live in New Mexico. So New Mexico architecture has really cool things like nichos. And this is a nicho that is behind my bedroom door, which is beautiful in terms of it being very private, but also very accessible and very easy for me to see and find. I use this nicho as my personal altar. It's just the space that I use for this. Let me get a little closer here. So in the ritual theory design course, one of the things that I talk about is altar spaces. This altar space has been going for quite some time and is probably ready for a refresh, which means I need to clean it all out and decide what all is going to go in here, including like the candle holders and stuff like that. However, essentially what I do every day is I light a tea light, which I already did earlier this morning. I just light one tea light. Sometimes I will light my little smoke bundle, and then I draw a single tarot card. So for today, the card that I drew was Judgment. And I usually line them up so that I can kind of see what the progression is. And I keep the deck right here, and I ground, and this is kind of my daily reminder to ground. I light the candle, I might light the incense. I kind of sit with the intention of the altar itself, and then I draw the card to kind of see where my energy is that day, to kind of see how I'm feeling that day, as well as what my intuition might want to tell me. Sometimes they interact with the dreams that I just wrote down in my dream journal. And so it can be a really useful way to kind of check in with myself in a different way. You might notice here I have a necklace. So this necklace, it's malachite. I don't usually wear this necklace because malachite can be very amplifying, but it makes a great pendulum. And so sometimes I will use this as a pendulum instead, or if I have like a burning question of, oh, should I do this? Should I not do that kind of thing? I will ask the pendulum instead of other forms of discernment. The other thing that I will do later on in the day often is check in with my head, my heart, my gut, and my divine guidance. That's another form of discernment that I'm going to use on a regular basis. But I wanted to share this with you because this is how I use the tarot on like a daily basis, as opposed to drawing big spreads or whatever. I'm sure there's more to say about this, and it's possible that I'll have additional videos kind of coming up where I am thinking through this. But I wanted to share this with you because I felt like it was kind of missing from the overall message of the playlist and the whole project. So I hope you appreciate it. I hope it's useful for you. And I'll let you know as things progress with the other projects that I have going on. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.